So you have a big product idea and now you're not sure if your idea solves real customer problems. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to conduct user interviews, how to validate your assumptions, and how to make it easy. The purpose of user interviews is to save you time and money, as simple as that. That's literally it, because imagine you spending time on the development, on the design, on the marketing, and then you find out that actually nobody have this problem at all. You're gonna be very disappointed, and plus it's waste of time and waste of money, waste of people resources, all that stuff. When you have this idea at the beginning, spend this 1 week, 2 weeks to conduct user interviews, to get to know your potential customers, to find out if this idea actually solving their problem. And sometimes you will find out that actually they don't have this problem at all, but it's a good thing, because at the same time you didn't spend any penny on the development and on the design, on the marketing, on nothing. So you can move to another idea, so it's good for you. And if you find out that users have this problem, so just go for it, but you have evidence, you have the data, you're confident to move to another stage. So there are two main types of the user interviews. One of them is generative. It answers the question what we don't know. It also helps us to validate assumptions. It's more like a discovery interview. It's like a conversation with the user. And another type of the user interviews is the usability testing. That's when you have a prototype and you create some simple task for the user, and you can see if this prototype solves your customers' problems. Based on this data after the usability testing, you can make some design decisions. Oh, we need to change this screen or that screen. So you have evidence and you test your design before jumping to development. The first and the most crucial step for the user interviews is a planning. It will help you to focus, and plus it will help you to get the most out of your user interviews. Write down what this interview is about, like what questions do you have in your mind, what answers do you want to get from your customer, what assumptions do you have that you want to validate, and also write down who are your customers. So who are those people? Because you cannot create the product for everyone, you have to be very specific. Describe your persona, basically. Who are your potential customers? What problems you think they have? Is it a woman or man, or it's a child, or like is it a student, or it's a businessman? I don't know, is it a dog owner? You have to be very specific about your target audience, because it will help you to recruit right people for the interviews as well. If you talk with the wrong people about your idea, you will get wrong results. Imagine you're developing the food delivery app and you're talking with your mom that cooks every single day herself, and she doesn't need any food delivery because her food is delicious. And it's a wrong audience. Of course, you will get the wrong data, so don't do that. That's why you need to describe your target persona. So the tip number one for the user interviews is to spend 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes, talking with your potential customer about themselves. You just ask the customer, tell us about yourself, and people love talking about themselves. It makes them comfortable, it makes them feel good. So basically allow them to tell you everything, doesn't matter, about their dog, about their, I don't know, how they went fishing last Saturday, anything about themselves. The point is to make them comfortable, because majority of people during the interviews, they are nervous and they wanna look good and they wanna to give you the best answers, like in the school. So they have a feeling like maybe it's a sort of exam. So you have to reduce this feeling by just talking and creating the friendly atmosphere. Don't jump right to the questions, like first minute. Don't do that, because you will just scare the person and you will get the not honest answers. Another tip is articulate it that there is no wrong or right answers. It might be obvious for you, but it's not obvious for people you are talking to. So you have to say it and you have to make it clear, because as I said before, like, people sometimes feeling that they are on the exam, so they have to tell you the best answer, and they will think, what should I say better, how I would look like, Be sure to ask people if it's okay if you record this interview. It's very good for you to record each interview, because maybe you missed some data, maybe you were busy taking the notes and you missed some information, so you can go back and rewatch it again and analyze the user interview better. It's like best case scenario that you have all your interview recordings, but some people don't like to be recorded, so just make sure to ask them before. Another tip is ask open-ended questions. Open-ended question is the question that make person to tell more, to talk more, to explain their thoughts, their feelings, their behavior, everything. That's opening the conversation. Open-ended question is like, what do you think about this product? Or how do you feel about this feature? You cannot answer this question by saying yes or no. That's the point. If you can answer the question with yes or no, that's not an open-ended question. And you want to avoid these questions because, okay, you just asked the question, the person said yes and then no, and it blocked you. So you don't have the enough insights, you don't have any insights actually, and it's kind of create this weird atmosphere. So don't do that. Ask only open-ended questions that just make people to talk more, to explain more, clarify more. The whole point of the user interviews, they have to talk 95%. You have to talk as an interviewer 5% max. Always ask follow-up questions, and I encourage you to take notes. Not like if you're conducting the interviews alone and you don't have the person. Ideally, you have a person who is taking notes at the same time. That's ideally, or you can use the Google transcript. What I do usually, I have paper on the table, the pen, and I write the most interesting parts. You hear like clear pain point, like the person said, I was stuck, like I was disappointed, I didn't know what to do, I lost my money, something like that. Very interesting. So you have to follow up on these questions. Don't leave it like that. So it's interesting for you to dig deeper. How do they currently solving this problem? Actually, that's a very good one, because people will say you, that's a big problem, that's huge, just solve it for me. But then when you ask how you currently solving this problem, sometimes people saying, actually, like, I'm not solving this, like I just leave it like that, it's okay. The point is, if person even not trying to solve the problem that he's talking about, so for you is a sign that it's not that big, because if it was big, usually people searching for the ways how to solve it, different ways, maybe complicated ways, so you can get that approach and make it simpler and make it maybe a new feature for your product. If you hear about the problem and this person telling you that he's actually trying to solve this problem, that's a good catch. So that's something that you can work on. It may be a potential feature, and so on. Ask why it's important. Can you tell more about this situation? So all the open-ended questions. Another tip is actually repeating the last words that participant is saying and then stop. That works like a magic. For instance, your participant is talking and then you catch some insights that interesting for you and you repeat his like exact words. You can say, so you are saying that, and you repeat exact the same sentence that he said. And then you pause and wait, because it will create kind of like weird silence, which you actually want to do that. So that's our goal, to create the weird silence. And the whole point is, don't break this silence yourself. The participants should break this silence. Usually people feeling that they have to explain their own words. That's how it works. Psychological trick. 99.9% people starting explaining themselves. And when they explain it themselves, you will be surprised that what they just said, it's like far, far, far away from the actual truth, the actual pain point. So while they're explaining, you will get much more insights. You will understand the goals behind their behavior. So that's a really cool trick. At the end of the interview, always ask if there's anything else they want to share with you. That's important because you prepared some questions, you prepared hypotheses that you want to validate, but you don't know what you don't know. And you just need to leave ideally last 10 minutes of the user interview to ask this question. Is there anything else you want to share with us? People can talk about anything. It's very open-ended question that lead to the cool insights and ideas. Some people will tell you ideas that they have in their head, and it might be very useful for you. Sometimes they can share their pain points that you didn't even think of, and they can say, oh, it might be cool if you do that. So yeah, that's a very useful question. Always at the end, ask participants, is there anything else you want to share with me? If you enjoyed this video, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let's make it simple.